Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. This all happened a couple of years ago. Holly's first day at work was also the day I met my future wife. At 35 years old, I had been an employee there for a while, and it was my duty to introduce her to the job. As we spent more time together, our relationship blossomed into love, and we eventually tied the knot, laying the foundation for the events to come. At the time of this story, Holly was 32 years old. During her college years, she met a girl called Tori who would eventually become her closest friend. They were known for their wild partying, and it's a wonder that Holly didn't end up flunking out of college due to their antics. After 6 years of Holly and I being married, my wife's college friend, Tori, announced her engagement. Holly was surprised because she didn't see Tori as the settling down type. We had discussed early on in our marriage that maintaining a close friendship with this particular person could potentially strain our relationship. On a random night not long after hearing about Tori's engagement, Holly mentioned she would be visiting her parents for dinner and would return later. This didn't seem out of the ordinary, so I gave my approval. After a long day at work, I headed home and grabbed the trash to take it out. As I was carrying the bag to the curb, something caught my eye through the plastic. It looked like a postcard. My curiosity piqued, and I couldn't resist reading it before throwing it away. To my surprise, it was an invitation to Tori's bachelorette party at a male strip club in the city that night. Without thinking twice, I jumped in my car and drove to the venue. I began to inquire about the whereabouts of my wife and the bride, and eventually a woman told me that they had departed from the party earlier with 2 men. After some convincing, she disclosed the name of the hotel they had gone to. I was in disbelief. What could possibly be going on? I tried calling Holly's phone multiple times, but it went unanswered. As soon as I arrived at the hotel lobby, I asked the receptionist for their room number, but she adamantly refused to give it to me. After waiting anxiously for a while, I saw my wife emerge from the elevator, linked arm in arm with a man. As soon as they saw me blocking their path, my wife and the man's expressions shifted from delight to shock. She gasped and placed a hand over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. The man awkwardly averted his gaze when he found out I was her husband. I demanded answers from Holly about what had happened, but she seemed hesitant to speak. Eventually, she admitted to making a reckless decision to party and asked if we could leave and discuss it in private. I prodded her for details, but she struggled to give a clear explanation. She tugged on my hand, urging me to leave the lobby, but I resisted. I made it clear that I wouldn't take her back home if she had been unfaithful. Unable to hold herself together, she collapsed onto the floor and broke down in tears. Tori came out of the next elevator and looked just as shocked as my wife to see me. She was with a man too, and something told me it was not the man she was engaged to. She told me that my wife had deceived her. It turns out Holly had been lying to Tori, saying that we had been separated for months. After a heated argument, Holly and I left the hotel and retreated to my car. Tears streaming down her face, Holly finally admitted that she couldn't resist having a bit of fun with her friend, even though she was well aware that I wouldn't condone it. She confessed to feeling bored and unfulfilled in our marriage, which led her to cheat. In that instant, I made up my mind that I was done with her and would never be able to forgive her for this betrayal. Holly got out of the car and I drove away without looking back. Holly's brother picked her up and was kind enough to let her stay with him. However, after a month passed, he grew weary of having her around. She felt despondent and lost, unable to work or find hope for the future. She called me incessantly, pleading to come over, but I refused each time. I didn't want to be near her or take the chance of being persuaded into letting her back into my life. Although I had loved her for many years, I realized that I needed to protect myself from being manipulated once more. It's been 2 years since then, and my ex still resides at her brother's home. They have grown to despise each other, and she harbors resentment towards me for not forgiving her for one night of recklessness, even though I truly believed she deserved it. On social media, she now preaches against the dangers of partying and alcohol consumption. This situation taught me that I cannot dictate my partner's decisions. All I can do is have faith and defend myself if needed. Despite my love for her over the years, I am confident that I can also feel the same way for another woman in the future. Thank you for listening.